Okay. Electrosensitivity, you can think of it as an autoimmune disease and it needs a trigger. So for other people, if it's hypothyroidism, their trigger might be eating foods that they're reacting to and building up gut inflammation. And then that gut inflammation is causing inflammatory reaction in the body, which then makes antibodies against their own thyroid. And so they become hypothyroid. So the trigger might have originally been based on food or inflammation in the gut. And then the result is this autoimmune condition of hypothyroidism. Anything can be like that. MS, it can be like that. It has an environmental trigger. There's a lot of different autoimmune conditions that need a trigger. For example, you can even consider like long COVID. The trigger was the original virus. After the virus has been resolved, the body is still in a pro-inflammatory state and it's hypersensitive and re-triggering to these antibodies that are still in your system. So it's not even the original trigger anymore that we're treating. We are now treating the resultant hypersensitivity and inflammation. And that is what an autoimmune disorder is that your body's immune response and inflammatory response is hypersensitive and continuing to react even in the absence of the original trigger. Okay. So that is what electrosensitivity can be as well. In this case, the trigger would be EMFs, artificial EMFs that you were exposed to in high doses for a prolonged period of time, triggering your underlying electrohypersensitivity that you probably always had, but you didn't have the triggering offense to set it off as an autoimmune disorder. So, yes, moving to an office where you are so much closer, exponentially closer to, and it's sandwiched between two cell phone towers and then on a fifth floor of an office park and working every single day, day in and day out, after a couple weeks, after just 2 or 3 months, 100%, there's your trigger to now kick off this autoimmune cascade. And the key is to treat the original trigger and then to decrease all of the total toxic body burden. So clean air, clean water, good sleep, key supplements that reduce inflammation, grounding. There's a lot of different ways that we can calm the body's hyperactivity and hyper response, get out of an autoimmune cascade, and so that that original trigger, once treated, actually resolves the entire event. And that's what I hope for you in this instance, treating electrohypersensitivity as an autoimmune cascade. Hopefully, you stop being as reactive when you do have to come across some exposures. But right now, you're so hyperreactive because of that initial enormous, immense toxic exposure that triggered this. You have to get out from under the cascade to have resolution of your symptoms.